video, we will be talking about depth progression. How to progress for yourself, how to tackle this whole idea of progressing deeper and deeper and deeper. One of the most common things that we hear in freediving is that I felt the pressure or I didn't like the pressure. And the truth is that you don't have any nerve endings in your lungs. So you don't actually ever feel anything that goes on internally. We never feel anything that takes place inside of the lungs. So this is a point that I just want to get out of the way really fast. When we feel pressure, it is because we are either tense or in some way resisting the pressure of the ocean. So if we were going down and we were locking up in our chest, or we were tensing our abdominals, or just somewhere, some small piece of tension in any of the muscles, basically in our entire torso, anything surrounding the thoracic cavity, that will often result in us feeling pressure, feeling the weight of the water against us because we are resisting it. We are resisting it pushing us inward. It's very much a part of freediving culture that we only progress 1, 2, or 3 meters at a time. That we do this very slowly to never shock the body, to always make sure that we are ready to accept the level of pressure that we are taking ourselves into. So really quickly, I'm just going to draw up a little diagram, and I've written here depth progression because that's the topic of the video. So this is something that we all will have seen before. On the surface, above me, I have the weight of the atmosphere. So what I'm feeling now on my body is the weight of the entire atmosphere of the Earth. Now that entire atmosphere of the Earth is equivalent to roughly the weight of 10 meters of water. So on the surface, I have 1 atmosphere of pressure. I'm gonna get rid of this little G here. ATM, 1 atmosphere of pressure. At 10 meters, I have 2 atmospheres of pressure. It means that I have the weight of the entire atmosphere above me, but also the weight of 10 meters, which is 10 meters of water, which is why the pressure doubles. At 20 meters, I'll write the depths here, 0, 10, 20. At 20 meters, there is 3 times the pressure. I have the weight of the atmosphere plus 20 meters of water, and so on and so forth. At 30 meters, I have 4 times the pressure. We just have to make sure that our bodies are ready to handle that amount of pressure. And there really is only one way to do this. And the best way to do this is very simply to dive. Nothing will adapt your body to pressure like placing it under pressure. Nothing will adapt you to deeper dives like doing deeper dives. But the way that we do these dives is very important. So ideally, we never really want to feel the pressure. If we're feeling the pressure, it's often because we have gone to a depth that we're not ready for. Because in going to that depth, we have become tense. We have become stressed or nervous or anything along those lines. Ideally, we're diving within our comfort zone. And I talk about this all the time, that counterintuitive to the rest of life, the best way in freediving to extend your comfort zone is not to go outside your comfort zone, but go to the edge of your comfort zone, and that pushes it out. Because having negative experiences going outside of the zone where you're comfortable is the best way to ruin your mind for freediving. It's the best way to scar yourself from the experience of freediving. Because, for example, it's one thing to go for a run and feel like, oh, that was a really hard run and I worked really hard and my legs are really sore. It's another thing to have that same experience with your breath, without breathing, to be like, oh wow, that was a hard breath hold, I really wanted to breathe. It's something that it tends to hit our minds in a very, very intense way. Breathing is effectively essential for our lives to keep us living. So we experience a very intense feeling of psychological distress when we want to breathe, but we can't. So it is very important that we always keep all of our breath holds within a comfortable zone and slowly allow our comfort zone to expand without pushing it out. Just allow it to happen on its own. You will find that you actually progress faster than the people around you that push their comfort zone out, because they'll progress really quickly in a short period of time and then plateau. They won't go anywhere from there. So when it comes to our depth progression, all we're doing is attempting to go a few meters deeper at a time. For example, let's say my PB was 10 meters. Here I am at 10 meters diving up and down, and I get down to 10 meters, and at 10 meters I start to feel a bit maybe nervous, and I come up and say, oh yeah, I felt a bit of pressure, right? The response then is not to, all right, let's go down to 12, 13 or 14. The response is then, okay, let's repeat the 10. Let's try 9 or 8 meters until you feel so comfortable down there that you are not tensing up. You feel so comfortable that you are ready to then progress beyond it. And usually, when we are truly ready for a dive, they are the kind of PBs where, you know, you probably accidentally go a little bit deeper on the line than you maybe meant to. And you come up and you say, oh God, well that was a PB by a few meters. I didn't mean it, I just felt so good. That's what we're going for. We're after those euphoric experiences in which we just go deeper because we were truly ready for it. We felt good to do it. So if I get down to 10 meters and I feel great and I feel no pressure at all, then the response is, absolutely, let's put the line deeper, or let's attempt to dive deeper. Let's try 12, let's try 13. And then we come up, and if at 13 I felt pressure, we repeat 13, or we go back to 12, or we even go back to 10 until we're super comfortable at that depth. If I get to 13 and I feel great, I feel nothing at all, then absolutely go deeper, because your body is completely ready for that depth. Usually in all cases, we repeat a depth a few times before moving on to a deeper depth. It is the way to keep this as safe and fun as possible. And once again, limiting bad experiences is key. We don't want to have bad experiences. We want everything to always feel good. The final thing I want to touch on is that we also have stretch and pressure receptors in the lungs. Let's not phrase them necessarily as pressure receptors, but our lungs are able to interpret pressure. And often when we are going down deeper than we have before, the lungs will be like, oh my God, this is more pressure than I've ever experienced before. And it gives you a feeling of psychological distress. So even consciously, if you are like, no, I'm relaxed, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling great, I'm completely relaxed, but you're going deeper than you have before, it is normal for you to subconsciously tense up. You won't be able to control it, and that's fine. It's a whole part of the game. And if we do experience that, then we go up to the surface again, relax, breathe, and attempt the same dive or a shallower dive again to let the body know that yes, we can dive to this depth, you can experience this much pressure, and you won't die. We're telling the lungs, hey, look, we went here before, right? And nothing bad happened. So usually the second time you return to a depth, you won't feel that distress. Your lungs won't, the pressure in your lungs won't freak the rest of your body out. So usually that only takes one repeat dive, but sometimes two, and the key is to just be patient, progress slow. In this game, the tortoise always beats the hare. Slow, steady, constant progression, as opposed to rushed, rapid progression, which leads to stalls and plateaus and people even going backwards. So take all the pressure, pun intended, off yourself, relax, and progress slowly. It will be to your absolute benefit in the long run.